What's up, Paige? 1 second. Let me get this started. I've been streaming for 40 seconds. All right. All right. All right, let's get my chats out so I can see what's going on. Blix, baby, we are so back. Oh, yeah, wait. Phil, I got to, I forgot I have to, text you when I get on. All right, Phil, I just let you know I'm on. Seems like Pittsburgh. You see this ridiculous map I have up for you guys? Just trying to get everyone's attention here. What's up? It seems like Pittsburgh is on that borderline of getting no ice to getting a lot of ice. Yeah, it is. That snow outlook is crazy. I'll show you what it is in a sec. This is, guys, this is me just clickbaiting my stream real quick. Yeah, just give it a second and we'll get serious. This is a real map. This is the Euros 46-day snow outlook on the 10-to-1 ratio. Perfect. We'll get serious here in a second. My son effed up my glasses. 1 second. All right. You know what time it is. What's going on, Frankie? Sorry, guys. We'll get started in just a second. Thanks for the 2 people who followed me. New Jersey, look at... This is just a clickbaiting map. Don't worry, guys. This is the real Euro projection for snowfall for the next 46 days. But obviously, I mean, obviously that's ridiculous. But I'm changing it. I'm just trying to get everyone's attention, and we'll get serious. No problem, Jim. I appreciate that. God, don't mess up my feelings like that. I know. This is what we call a clickbaity map. Now, this is a real map. This is the Euro's 46-day outlook. El Will and IKEA, I appreciate you. Here's 7-day outlook. Okay. We can look at the latest updated GFS ensemble. Boston looks to get buried. Phil, buckle up, cowboy, because Boston is going to see so much snow in the next 2 weeks. You have no idea. You have not seen snow yet this winter, Phil, until you see what's going to happen in the next 2 weeks, likely up there in the New England. It'll be good for the Mid-Atlantic, too, but I think even better for New England. It'll be good in my area. Mentioned the Super Bowl. Being a Giants fan. Yeah. I don't want them to win. Marie. I'm doing good, Caroline. I appreciate that. We're going to get started here in just a second, guys. Man, here is your total snow on your latest GFS. Kind of the outlook of where it thinks the heaviest snow is going to fall over the next 2 weeks. Obviously, the GFS really puts a big target out here, and then this is mostly mountain snow, but some of that isn't. Some more through the northern plains, and maybe a little bit more through here. But this is the bullseye right here. For the East. Mid-Atlantic, New England. That white. All right, we can get into everything. First off, let's take a quick look at, since we have our 18Z GFS here, let's take a quick look at our stratospheric polar vortex, 50 millibar height anomaly, North America. Sorry, Northern Hemisphere. Here's our current polar vortex. It is stretched. It is about to break right through here. This is the stratosphere, guys. So we live in the troposphere. This is above the troposphere. But this is what helps to hold all of the cold air into the Arctic, the stratospheric polar vortex, especially. When this breaks, guys, remember, I'm going to go over some things for a couple minutes, and then I'm going to start answering all the chat questions. Yeah, I hate Kansas City, but I need them to win. But this is what we're looking at now. Now, watch our GFS. I mean, you could say that's not a full split. It's a full split. These are two separate vortices. You could call this a stretch. But you can see our Euro actually still has the break. Watch this. Here is our Euro upper air. 1 second, guys. Upper air. Why isn't this doing... Oh, is it going to make me go into actual Euro? Stratosphere. Here's our Euro. Here's our Euro, and our Euro actually still breaks it, I think. You can see it right here. Watch. There's the complete break from the Euro. Complete separation with high pressure building in between. You have this dipping down into Asia, this down into North America. So the Euro still has the break, and then it kind of comes back together and it rebuilds back down here. Why is this important, guys? This would mean a very elongated winter in the States. Our winter would, let's just say the groundhog would have got it very correct. If not, we could even see a longer winter than the groundhog thinks. But our GFS doesn't have a full split anymore. It has a very close to full split. Big stretch. You could see that. I mean, that's essentially, I mean, it kind of does have a full split. Is this our 18Z? I mean, it's being held on by a feather right here. This is, it's being held on by a feather. This is a closed off vortice though. You can see it right there. This one, not so much. Sorry, I'm looking at this for the first time since I've got on stream, so I'm just assessing it. But yeah, this keeps our temperatures down in the States very cold and extends our winter. All right, here is what's going on. Here's our latest GFS. Here's our first storm here. What are our new totals from our first storm moving across the east? On the latest 18Z, the GFS, here you go. Cities like Boston, a couple inches. Nothing crazy big for up in New England, at least on the GFS. Nothing wild, really, for Wisconsin, Minnesota. It thinks, the Twin Cities could get a few inches, up to 6 inches. Here's our bigger storm right behind it. This is when you get kind of buried in the Twin Cities, Green Bay, potentially down into Milwaukee. We'll have to see. Madison, Wisconsin, we'll have to see. This one likes somewhere. This one likes a potential heavier snow into Boston. We'll have to see. 4 to 6 inches. Let me pull this back. It's going to be a close call, though. I think the Euro does this better, though, so we're going to look at that in a second. But then here's where things get interesting. Our jet starts to dip, and then you see this big... You see this... You see the multiple snowstorms trying to fill out this area, and up here. So let's just go to our future. Let's go to our composite reflectivity here. There we go. First system, obviously the main target for ice we're going to have to worry about is going to be central Pennsylvania to western Pennsylvania. You need to pretend like you're getting a half inch of ice in Pitt because you're so close it's hard to tell, but you need to pretend like you are just to be prepared. Detroit obviously could be a big one. Cincy, Buffalo, you all need to worry about some ice. Northeastern Indiana, northwestern Ohio as well. Need to worry about that ice. We do have a marginal risk for severe weather down here in Kentucky and Tennessee. Pretty much the whole state of both of them. You should be kind of just be aware. Small tornado chances, but there's still a chance we could get some tornadoes. Instability isn't crazy. I would expect some strong winds associated with these thunderstorms on Thursday, Wednesday evening into Thursday afternoon. Let me get back to this storm. There we go. With the potential, strong winds and hail with the potential for a tornado on Thursday, Wednesday evening into Thursday. Here's our second storm. Literally copy paste. Guys, look at this first storm. Second storm, literally copy paste with ice and rain and severe weather, pretty much. This one packs a more significant punch. We have a deeper low pressure, So we are going to see heavier snowfall up here from this storm. It's about 2 times the amount of snow you got from the first one, if not more. And again, ice with this system, we can go. I just want to see what's kind of happening here, and I'll get back to, and we'll start doing questions. Here's the latest on your GFS. First ice storm. Look at the second one. It's like copy and pasting it right over where the first one is. So, and then we'll have to wait and see what happens out there. But tons of ice in our forecast. I still like what our Europeans doing better for these 2 systems. So let me show you this. Here's the ice. Here's the ice potential with this first system on the European. You guys know where you live. But that's mainly, I mean, it's pretty much all of PA has to worry. Central to Western PA, probably the most. Obviously, parts of Northwestern Virginia and Eastern West Virginia, Northern Ohio, Southern Michigan, Northeastern Indiana. Those are your main targets there. And the second one comes through, and it's copy-paste right over the same exact areas. You see that, guys? First ice storm, look at this. Second one. How's that even possible? It has to do with elevation. The elevation through here is messing up some of this. Is putting the ice where it wants to go. Tons of ice. Here's our European update for these 2 systems. This is what I care much more about. Boston, again, just a couple inches with the first one. You can see a big similarity between the Euro and GFS on this first one. There's quite a discrepancy, I think, on the second one. Second one wants to, I mean, the second system wants to absolutely bury the Twin Cities under a minimum of a foot of snow. That's not a ton for them, but compared to what they've gotten this season. And it does similar things out here in New England, but it actually puts a little bit more snow up through why isn't my brain working? Northern upstate New York, New Hampshire, Vermont, and potentially more into Boston. So that's what's going on there. One second, guys. All right, I'm gonna start taking questions. Let me see here. One second. Ay. Okay. I plow snow and would love your input. On what? All right, so that's what's going on, guys. More macro picture. I just want to show you too. This is the last thing. I promise I'm taking questions. Here's your more macro outlook. Okay, first storm, second storm. What happens right after this second storm? This is where things start to get serious. As we get into the 10th and the 11th, our jet stream drops from up here in the north, and it's going to drop south. Why? Because we have our AO going quite negative. Our AO going negative means our polar jet is slowing. We have heat and a high pressure building up in the stratosphere, and it is weakening that polar jet, and we're going to see a big shift to the south with this jet. Shifts to the south. Suddenly, our severe weather transitions from our potential for severe weather transitions from the Ohio Valley down to the southeast. This is as we're getting into early next week. So now we're watching big snowstorms through this region, potential ice through this region, and severe weather outbreaks through this region. Now, we could get some winter storms a little bit farther back here. But, I mean, you can see what the Euro wants to do. The Euro even wants a chance for some pretty far southerly snow as well. So, anyways, let's get to talking. Here's that snowfall map from the Euro. Huge snow in the Mid-Atlantic. Gigantic snow in the Mid-Atlantic. Lots of snow for you guys out here, too. This would make everyone happy, right? So, that's our latest Euro, even down in Texas. Cape Cod's expected to get some snowfall. Some good accumulation with these systems. We'll look at this 12Z of the Euro right now because I still think it's going to be more accurate than our 18Z GFS. How much ice for Bucks County? I mean, you should pretend like you're going to get a half inch, but ice totals are always projected wrong. It's extremely hard to project. But I think we'll get under 1/5 of an inch. Like a 0.10 to 0.20. I'm hoping we just end up with a glaze. Can you stop breaking my heart, Connor? I want snow, not tornadoes. Well, it's looking more like tornadoes. But who knows? Maybe this trough right here, maybe this trough out here, way far out on the Euro, actually amplifies a tiny bit. And then suddenly this is a big snowstorm for the southeast. Not impossible. Let's just say that. Patrick, Brittany, Zach, I appreciate you guys. Possibility of severe thunderstorms in St. Louis, Missouri. You know, there's none in your immediate future. There's no severe weather outbreaks on the GFS or the Euro for you guys. So there is some snow on the Euro for you, though. Snow totals for the Mid-Atlantic next week. It depends what part of the Mid-Atlantic. Really depends what part of the Mid-Atlantic, because we can go in here. I'll show you what's going on with our latest snow totals on Weatherbell. Our latest snow projections. We can go in here and we can go to our latest European run. Let's do just our deterministic model. Why is our deterministic model not doing? We'll do a 10-day deterministic model. Here's your 10-day deterministic model on the Euro. So this is out 10 days. You can, I mean, most of the Mid-Atlantic, except for maybe southeastern coastal, this is a big swath of 6 inches to a foot of snow. That's the Euro 10-day projection. You can see what the GFS does. What do these both have in common? New York City to DC. That corridor right there. You can see this corridor right here. They both have good snow through here. So if I flip back to the Euro, it stays there. It stays in that corridor between New York City to DC. But I would not want to be on the south end of this. DC and Baltimore could get pushed out sometimes. And I was talking about this. Did I talk about this in my video today? I think I did talk about this in my video today. Here's the issue. We would see a bigger snowstorm out of this, but you guys in the DMV would be screwed out of snow if this happened. Let me show you something. Okay, let's get into here. Let me show you something. This is actually something interesting. Okay. Here we go. Promise I'm doing something. Here's our big snowstorm. There. Okay, there's our 1, 2. Okay, here's the significant one here. So this is going to be our 1. Okay, so this comes through and this stays flat. Okay, you're going to see a piece of energy move through here, and it's going to move like this. Here's our Euro. Okay, so here's our first storm right there. Second storm right there. Here comes our third right here. Now, there's no big tilt with this. There's no major tilt with the system after it. Weak. No significant troughing. What does this look like on... Or sorry, no significant negative tilt. What does this look like on this map? Well, here we go. You can actually see it with the isobars here. This is like a super zonal flow that's bringing heavy snow. That's why, I mean, this is a 1012 millibar low, dumping a foot of snow. That's actually pretty rare to see. That's just because you have so much, you've had so much heat down here and you have a lot of moisture availability. But if this trough were to dig farther south, which some models have it digging farther south, and then begin to tilt earlier, which some models have it, there would be a big bulk of warm air that would push up like this out ahead of this snowstorm early next week. This is Monday, Tuesday, early next week, guys. And what would happen is some of these areas farther to the south would get choked out of snow. And the areas that would specifically get choked out would probably be Delaware, Maryland, Northern Virginia. Philly would be close, but I think Philly would get snow first, and then it would transition into rain. Right now, these models have this snowstorm just staying flat like this, which actually gives you less snow. If we were to see a tilt, it would be a much, much bigger snowstorm. It would be a major snowstorm. This is pretty major, but it would be significant. But if it did tilt, again, you'd have a big push of warm air out ahead of it, and it would erase your snow down there in the DMV, which half the models have happening, and I can't decide which I think is going to happen. And I feel just because of how negative our AO is, and how negative our NAO is setting up, our North Atlantic oscillation, it's the setup for this cold air to dive and tilt and dig. So if I had to choose one, I think the trough's going to dig a little bit more and tilt a little bit more than the Euro's suggesting here, which would mean potentially warmer air pushing to the north. But I hope I'm wrong. We can't really see it at the end of this run yet. It looks pretty zonal here as well, which is good for you guys in the DMV that want to see that snow. It looks pretty zonal still. So that would keep heavy snow over the Mid-Atlantic. But there's another snowstorm that wants to move through directly after that one. Because you can see here's a big snowstorm. Boom, there's your huge Mid-Atlantic snowstorm. And then here's another behemoth moving through potentially. We don't know how that's going to look yet. It could look much more significant. Here's another one, which could have some snow with it, too far out to see. Here's another potential one. You just have a lineup of storms that are going to do all sorts of weird stuff. Here is another potential one, nor'easter style up the coast. Guys, this is like 6 snowstorms in like a period of like 8 days. It's ridiculous. Oh, and by the way, here's major troughing. You can see it pushing down here, and you can see it moving through here. So, woo! God, the next 3 weeks are going to be crazy for a lot of people. Snow in the big Albuquerque, low-key. You guys are supposed to stay pretty dry down there, aren't you? Dry. I'll look a little snow maybe out there in the beginning of next week, potentially down in Albuquerque. And then you can see the end of this run. This is way far out, but if you want to get crazy, the end of this run has a big snow into Albuquerque around Valentine's Day. Not much before then, though. And that's pretty far out. I don't want to take that too seriously. Potential for some, yeah, I mean, that's pretty far out. Wait, if the trough, it's spelled Trough. If the trough tilted, I know it depends a lot, but how much would northern Jersey and New York City get? If we had that trough tilting too much, you guys would have the potential to get no snow. But it all depends, because if this thing came down enough and then tilt it, yeah, that would be what we call a classic nor'easter, which would be, a 2 feet of snow through this entire region. But there's not many models calling for that. There's some. We can go through the panels if you want to see. I love going through the panels because we can look at every single run that these models have produced, and they're all possible. They're all possible to happen. So here we go. God, I have a headache. I need to take some Advil. What's going on with me lately? My son just keeps getting me sick. I think I need to put him up for adoption. I'm just kidding, guys. So there's a few of these runs here that see this huge tilt in the trough and kind of mega snowstorm for the Northeast. I mean, this one right here shows 1 to 2 feet from Virginia all the way up the coast. Take this with a grain of salt, guys. As you can see, there's not many that show that potential. I mean, this one as well shows definitely a significant trough. This one shows some significant tilting of the trough. This one right here brings actually snow very far down into the south, Tennessee, North Carolina. Yeah, so there's some here that are suggesting that. I think we could see some on our GFS panels as well. Let me see here. Some of our GFS runs have craziness. This is like 2 feet up the entire coast. This is like 3 feet up the entire coast. If this model was right, that would be this would be like a historic storm. But again, that's just one model run. This one has like 3 feet across the entire state of Pennsylvania. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But these are some of the outcomes that the models are seeing from their data today. This one's ridiculous, 2 feet across all of PA and up the coast. This one is a ridiculous amount of snow. This one brings snow down into Louisiana. There's some crazy runs with these storms, guys. There's some crazy runs. That's why these models are what feed our European ensemble full member, which is this one right here. And that's why you see this big highlighted area, because with these members showing some crazy looks, really anything's possible with this storm. Oh my God, I need to take some Advil. One second, guys. Problem solved. Problem solved. Wait, prank me how? No, I saw you guys doing that. Thanks for the follows and subs, guys. So anyways, all those panels you see, guys, what you're looking at here is the European taking all of the data and running it through its algorithm over and over and over again, and these are all the possible outcomes. And then what an ensemble is it takes all these possible outcomes and it averages them out into one big probability type thing. Like, okay, here is, and you can look at it and say, oh, well, the brighter area here, this is where most of our models favor. But there are some models that bring the snow down here too. That's why there's some areas of gray and blue down here too. Not as likely, but there are some models that bring a big snow down there. Grant, I appreciate you. Philly fails. So that's what's going on with that. You can see the GFS very similar look with the ensembles up here. Very similar look. Pretty good out here too. GFS likes here. The West Coast, there's nothing to say. Listen, you guys have an atmospheric river and low pressures. You guys have your weak La Nina look we've been waiting for all winter. And you're being fed cold air and snow for a while here. Mountains are going to go crazy out here for a while. And I think you are getting low elevation snow this weekend in Seattle, Portland, Boise. Dark purple, you know, you can see down here at the bottom your little thing. That's more like 6 to 9 inches. But, I mean, I can show you this as a probability map as well. So here's your probability. Let's go to our European model and let's see let's go to our probability of seeing a half foot of snow or more over the next 2 weeks. Ready? Oops, that's not the next 2 weeks. Sorry. There you go. Now, the areas in red, the Euro thinks, has a 100% chance of seeing a half foot of snow or more in the next 2 weeks. Okay, these areas. That it does include New York City. Philadelphia giving you about a 70 to 90% chance of seeing a half foot of snow or more. Boston, you're in 100%. But look at these areas down here that are also included. You've got some areas out here that the Euro thinks has an okay chance or has a chance of seeing a half foot of snow or more. We can put this up to a foot, and clearly, again, this region, you can see where this is a chance of seeing over a foot of snow over the next, I mean, not even over the next 2 weeks. This is your chance of seeing a foot or more of snow over the next 9 days. See this region up here? Look at that, 100%. Here's your inch or more. Here's your chance of seeing an inch or more of snow over the next, based on your latest European, an inch or more of snow over the next couple weeks here. That's this whole region in here. This is about a 50 to an 80% chance of accumulating snow. That's not a great look from the Euro, honestly. Let's see what our GFS thinks. Ew, why is our GF... That's our GEFS. Hold up. Oh, it's so bulky looking. So ugly looking. So that's what's going on with that, guys. Let me see this real quick. 1 second. Oh, I just want to test something out. Here's where the Euro thinks you could see over 2 feet of snow in the next 2 weeks. Boston, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, upstate New York. I'm just saying. Very not the highest probability, but the fact that it thinks it's possible to see 2 feet of snow up there in the next 2 weeks is crazy. Ain't it, chat? That's the pattern we have. Okay. Alrighty. Dang, this headache hurts. Yeah. Snow days for some folks. Next Tuesday, New Jersey snow shifted south on the GFS. Yeah, I don't really care where it shifts on the GFS. I care where it shifts on the Euro, but we can take a look at the GFS. Did it shift south? Here is our 18Z of the GFS. If you want to go, here's through the weekend. Yeah, a little bit south. You can see the chances down here. The problem is there's rain following this. There's rain following the snow. I don't think the snow lasts very long. But here is our 12Z. What did we see before that? Not really. No, about the same. About the same. Same look from the 18 and 12Z of the GFS. Thanks for the follow, guys. Does it look like there's snow in Frisco, Texas? Where is Frisco, Texas? My answer is going to be no, though, because I don't see any snow in the forecast for it. I mean, look at that. Maybe if Frisco, Texas is in the northern panhandle, does the Euro put snow up there? I think the Euro might put some snow in the northern panhandle as well. Tiny bit. Let's see. I'm ignoring this because this is La La Land snow, as we call it. But yeah, I mean, I guess the Euro gives you a chance for snow if you're up here. If you're not up here, you're probably not going to see snow. There's no. I'm sure the Canadian doesn't see any. Although the Canadian sometimes does throw snow really far to the south. Look at that. Look at the Canadian wanting to put a big slab of snow from Charlotte to Raleigh. Not the best model, though. Hate to break it to you guys. I do have a headache, too. What the heck's going on? What's going on, Indiana? That's a lot of runs with a lot of snow. Why does Long Island always got to be the 50-50 area? Well, because you're sitting on the Atlantic. Very simple. That's a very simple question to answer. Always boom or bust. Yep, you're always boom or bust because when you start having snow systems approach a body of water that's much warmer than the air, you have a lot of times warm air that wants to push through the mid layers of the atmosphere there and suffocate out your snow. So yeah, that's you're always going to be there if you live near the ocean. A lot more. It's a lot harder to predict the snow along the coast because as it gets towards that, again, as it gets out here, there's just a lot more heat and humidity available to choke out that snowfall. I bet your wife doesn't see an intro more. Oh no. Oh no. Phil. She sees about this much. No, I'm just kidding. Dark blue. I'm just kidding, guys. Phil, stop being inappropriate. This is a kid-friendly channel. No snowstorm for Chicago again this year. Yeah, well, I don't know. Your Euro thinks you're getting snow, but not a major one. GFS gets very close to putting. GFS end of this run does put good snow into Chicago, but that's La La Land snow. All right. Boston snowfall for Thursday. Yeah, 1 to 3 inches maybe. You guys could outperform. It's a weird one. There's gonna be a cutoff line near Boston. How do you feel about the 000, the HRRR? Oh, I haven't seen that. Can we see far enough out for this new system? Oh. Shout out to Fade for calling that out. I need to see this. Although the HRRR has been doing terrible out this far this season. So the HRRR likes 2 inches, pretty much 2 to 3 inches across the entire state of New Jersey, except for that farthest southern point down there. Here, we'll move up here so you guys can see what our HRRR is doing. Here's our short range. I don't completely hate this. I disagree down here. I'm down here in this area, and I don't think we're going to see a widespread 2 inches, 2 to 3 inches. I think we're going to be underperformed. Hi, future me. I know I was right. No, I think we're probably going to underperform there. Tennessee, not much to talk about. Tennessee, severe weather Thursday, actually. You are in a marginal risk. Nothing too dangerous. But Thursday, we can go down here. We can look in the Ohio Valley. Someone said, talk Tennessee. Here is our system moving across right here. Thursday, this is really going to be a Wednesday evening to Thursday morning event, I believe. But this region right here is under a marginal risk for severe weather. Could see a tornado or two. We don't have crazy instability in the atmosphere. We do have some decent wind shear, though. You can get some good hail with that and some strong winds. I would, not impossible to see some tornadoes with this, but I think it's going to be more of a just, severe thunderstorm type of event. And that's going to happen again. I mean, there's 2 of these systems lined up. Here's your first one, and then here comes Saturday, potential second one right there, Saturday and the Sunday. Let's look at the HRRR ice, by the way, too, guys. I'm just waiting for this medicine to kick in because my head hurts so bad. Let's look at our ice on our HRRR as well. Here's ice for the Ohio Valley. It's a pretty good look for you guys. Getting out easy, according to the HRRR. I think it's wrong. I think you guys see more ice than that, but the HRRR, we'll see. I mean, everyone really gets out of this easy. I hope the HRRR is right. The HRRR is saying no. I mean, everyone's getting a glaze except for this little region down here. I can't name a city in that area. Pittsburgh's not in there. Yeah, I can't name a city in that area. One of you probably lives in this area, but I off the top of my head, I can't name a city in that area. Cumberland. Winchester, maybe. Martinsburg. Hennick. Mersdale. Is Bedford in there? Oh, yeah, I think Bedford may be too far out to the east. Well, Bedford maybe, yeah. Yeah, maybe. smaller cities, but that's still a concern. But again, I think the HRRR hasn't been doing good on predicting ice this year either. So, what I would say is this entire region really through here needs to prep like they're going to get a lot of ice. This is going to be the main target. It's not going to fall exactly how any of these models show it. It's extremely hard to predict where that warm pocket of air is going to push through. I almost fell, guys. and choke out that snow turned to ice. So Yeah, none of these are going to be exactly correct. I've learned never to trust ice models. I have trust issues with frozen rain metrics. How's Kansas City looking for the next few weeks? Yeah, again, it depends what model you look at, you know. Really quickly, we can go back and take a look at just based on our Euro 12Z surface winner. I don't want to go more than we'll take a more realistic look 10 days out. All right, we can do actually Kuchera snow totals. Jeez Louise. Wow, I feel old. I shouldn't say that. Here is the 12Z Euro deterministic Kuchera run. Again, you see this target up here. Kansas City potentially getting in on a little bit of action. Kuchera thinks over the next. This is really. I mean, this is farther out. Let's not do that. Let's push this through about 10 days. We'll let that snowstorm settle in. There you go. Yeah, we'll push that through Valentine's Day. Could see some snow in Kansas City. A little bit of a target there. St. Louis, obviously. There's been a consistent pocket growing in this region, though. Actually, really through this region, but. Do you believe in the Euro for 12-11? I of course I do not believe. Listen, no models knows how much snow is going to fall in New Jersey a week away. They start to really understand it within 4 days, 4 to 5 days. So I do believe this is the target where we're going to see the most snow over the next 2 weeks, though. And New Jersey is in that area. So your chances are super, super elevated for a good snowfall in New Jersey. Chris and Mimi, I appreciate you. Hannah, Eric, Jeff, thank you guys. Long Island outlook, a lot of snow. You got. I mean, you guys are still in the bullseye for good snow here. Next couple weeks, someone's gonna miss out though. There's gonna be a snowstorm that moves through it that underperforms in one of these areas. We'll see where, but this is where the snow wants to fall. Is Chicago going to get a lot of ice and snow in the next 2 weeks? Chicago may end up seeing more ice than snow in the next 2 weeks. It really depends. There's your Euro. Here's our GFS deterministic. Same time frame. Same exact time frame. Look at this big gaping hole of snow. There's the GFS, guys. Here is our Euro. Oops. Wants to reset. There you go. Here's our Euro. Notice the GFS just ignores this region, which is interesting. GFS. But GFS puts a much bigger, has a much bigger snow solution for New Jersey, down through West Virginia, and the DMV, and then also through Kentucky, back out towards southern Missouri, northern Arkansas. So I'm confused at why the 12Z Euro is putting that much snow down through the central plains. Let me see this here. It's because of this system right here. It's because of this right here. That's why. Okay, makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. It's not impossible. Yeah, okay. There we go. How about southern Maryland? Like south of DC? Well, again, I think you're going to have an issue the farther south you get in the mid-Atlantic, especially we talked about this earlier. If this, our big snow that wants to move through the mid-Atlantic early next week is this storm right here. And there are some models that want this to dig and tilt. If this tilts, we're going to see a big kind of pocket ridge of warm air push up ahead of this snowstorm, and then you're going to see kind of a low pressure form here and a much bigger blizzard form right here. And that is going to translate up the coast, but you're going to have this warm pocket of air that sticks through here. So if we do get an amplified trough on the 10th or 11th that wants to negatively tilt, this is going to completely change our snow outcome, and it's going to shift it away from the DMV. So, but right now, both the GFS and Euro think good snow for the DMV. You don't want to be in Southern Maryland. None of these models really love Southern Maryland, so just south of DC, you're probably okay. But if you're talking about an hour to 2 hours south of DC, probably not. What do you think the chances of the Trough Trough Trough? What do you think the chances the Trough will tilt? I'm like a 60-40, and I'm on the 60. It's it's I'm disagreeing with the models that I'm looking at, and sometimes I can see things because I just know how these models act at a certain range because I've been looking at them for so long that I can usually tell if they're going to adjust through the model runs, and I just feel like it may end up tilting. But if it just tilts a little bit, you're still going to have all that. You're still going to have a good amount. You're not going to have if it just tilts a little bit, you're not going to have a huge ridge of heat here. It would have to tilt significantly. So I'm not sold on that yet. Thank you for the follows and subs, guys. How's St. Louis looking for snow in the next couple of weeks? Here's our Euro likes a little bit of snow into St. Louis, and our GFS completely pulls it away. Here's our Canadian. Disappears snow. Our Canadian disappears snow everywhere down here, but it's the Canadian model. It's not very good. But you'd probably want an outcome more like the European. Now, luckily for you, our European model is the best snow model that we have, global snow model. So it wants some accumulation into St. Louis, so not impossible. Baltimore's looking pretty good. How's let's see. What do you think the probability it turns into a nor'easter? Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get full. I don't think there's much of a chance we get a full blown nor'easter, but I think we could get what we call a bombing out low, where instead of this thing passing along, as a 1012 low, this is weak sauce. It's just a lot of moisture availability. This is not a strong low. This is not blizzard. Even though we have heavy snow, this is not blizzard conditions. It's not going to be very windy. You don't have strong warm cold air clashing right here. You have them. They're moving together, zonal flow. This isn't a big crash of air boundaries here. As something like, let me see if I can show you one that would be significant. Like this would be up here, 996 low. You're getting warm air pushed in above, cold air pushed in below. This is kind of like a cyclonic type storm. I don't. No model has shown it this really tilting big nor'easter. I do think there's a chance we get this down to like a 998 though, worst case scenario, which would mean an extra foot of snow for this area. But it could also mean a ridge, and that extra foot of snow is just a little bit farther to the north. Lots of interesting things that could happen with that. Portland, Oregon. Chris, I appreciate you. Chris71, Chris Andrew, Talulu. I appreciate you. Hannah Thomas. Thank you, guys. So, one second. Let me take a sip of my Red Bull. Portland, let's go up to the northeast or northwest real quick. Ooh, guys, my Advil's starting to kick in. My headache's gone. You've got cold air sinking in. Good for you guys. You guys have been, you guys have had some weird weather. This cold air is going to mean most of this precipitation that falls in this time frame moving forward, especially Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, is probably going to fall as low elevation snow. That's why you can see our Kuchera snow model suddenly filling in. You'll see these little gaps filled in. This is the lowest elevation. You'll see them filled in with snow right there, and maybe more. So this is a chance. This does want to put snow into Seattle and potentially into Portland on Thursday, because our temperatures will be cool enough. We can go take a look at our temperature anomalies up here over the next few days. Look at this, nice and blue. 10 to 15 degrees, really transitioning between 7 to 15 degrees below average this entire time frame up there in the PNW. So that's good. You just need some moisture with that, and that's cold enough, and especially in February, to get you low elevation snow. Look at this right here, negative 15 degrees below average in Seattle. That could be some low elevation snow if you have the right precipitation moving through late Thursday into Friday. And then if this happens, you guys are probably going to see low elevation snow. This troughing out here, but this is a little bit farther in the future. This is at the end of next week. Well below average temperatures up here in the Pacific Northwest. Is there precipitation moving through the region at this time? Look at that. A little bit there. And then look at this. This right here would be a big snowfall for Seattle. Actual Seattle, not the mountains around it. Portland doesn't love it, but we'll see what happens with that. That could be snow for both. Need a little bit more time. What weather app is good? I don't use any weather apps. I've heard AccuWeather does good. No, your Apple weather, do not look at the precipitation past really 3 to 4 days. It's going to be wrong. You can look at temperatures out a week. It does temperatures pretty good, but temperatures aren't hard to predict. It's a more macro event than a micro event, like a storm. Is the pink 12 inches to a foot? Yes. The hot pink is. This is like a foot. And then as you get into the light pink and white, that's 2 feet plus. Yeah. And then in here is like 2.5 feet. So, yep. It kind of goes like this. Okay. This is like 2 feet, 1 foot. This is like, 2 feet, 1 foot, 9 inches, 6 inches, 5 inches, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's kind of how that's transitioned. And then you have areas in here that are like 3 feet. This darker color in the white in here. But obviously this is just one of our deterministic runs here. This is our 12Z Euro. Out about 10 days. So at the end of this is going to be a little bit. We're not going to see the snow exactly blanket these areas exactly like this. This is kind of where the best signal is for our best snow model right now, which is the Euro. Connor, can anyone else? One second. How are the snow ice totals for Grand Rapids this week? Yeah, I'll talk about that in a second. I mean, it looks pretty good. Can anyone else see snow in Atlanta, Georgia? It's going to be tough. It's not impossible. We could get a late February big winter storm down there, or a or even a March storm if our polar vortex, our break is, or even significant stretch, but it's still probably going to split, is going to happen. That should allow us colder temperatures even through the beginning of March as well. So your chances for a big southern snowstorm aren't over because of the atmospheric setup we have. So it's not impossible to see more snow down Atlanta with this setup, but there's really none in the forecast right now. There are a few models. There's like a combined 6 or 7 models out of like the 50 model runs of the GFS. Not even. There's like 3 or 4 model runs out of the 50 models of the GFS and Euro that show snow back down in Georgia. So not a great chance in the short term, but we'll see what happens in the long term. Yeah, here's what's happening up in Michigan. There we go. Let's look at what our Euro thinks. So we got Grand Rapids should be this one right here. Yeah. Yep. So if you talk about going out about a week, our Euro thinks about 7 inches, give or take a couple. And then if you really want to push that out through, look out farther, maybe 10. We can see, I think our GFS is actually going to be more generous, but let's see. Maybe not. Yeah, our GFS is a little bit more generous to you out a week, giving potentially 8+ into Grand Rapids. So they both see about a half foot of snow moving out over the next 7 days. Um, lots of snow central to northern Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota. I was hoping you were on upstate New York recap, please. Well, you probably don't want to recap because you already know what happened if it's a recap. I mean, like recapping what I've talked about. Here's our euro for upstate New York. Here's our latest euro for upstate New York. It does like anywhere from 6 inches to 1.5 feet across the entire region of upstate New York. Over really even the next 7 days. And our GFS is pretty favorable for that region as well. Here's about 7 days out on our GFS. 6 inches to 1.5 feet across most of upstate. Southern upstate may not see as much, but I knew that was Pam as soon as I saw it. Thank you, Pam. Oh, you subscribe. You resubscribed because oh, Pam, I appreciate that. Thank you. Yeah, yeah. If you want to resub, I think you have to like do it on a computer now or get like any sort of tokens or anything because you still can't do it in the app. It's so ridiculous. Appreciate that, Pam. We were just looking at this, and you know, Pam, look what our GFS wants to do to you again. Look at this big gaping hole of missing snow here. Some to the north, some to the south. Our Euro disagrees though. Our Euro's a better snow model, and our Euro actually likes some significant snow over the next 10 days. Potential over the next 10 days in Omaha. Our Euro likes about 1 foot. But that is what we call a huge disagreement in the 10-day outlook for snowfall between the American and the European model. Huge disagreement. I'd always side on the European, though. It was warm and humid and yucky here today. Thanks for the update, Yali. You didn't have to say yucky. You just had to say warm and humid. I would have put 2 and 2 together. What are the chances of the Mid-Atlantic system bombs out? Maybe 60-40. I'm on the 60. Santiago. What do you think about the Euro putting snow and ice into central Texas, even though it's far out? Yeah, I'm not reading into that at all. Not at 300 hours out. Not even thinking about it because it's going to disappear in the next model run probably. I'll say this. Our AO wants to go positive again. Third week of February, I think it's going to drop back down negative after that, but that's when it wants to go positive is when the Euro sees that snow, so I'm not sure. Again, our stratospheric polar vortex is being stretched and split, so we're going to see a surprise snow somewhere in the south again before winter's over, I think. Somewhere. Coin, I appreciate you. Yali. Living in Chicago, no damn big snow in years. Didn't you guys have big snow just like 2 or 3 years? Huge season like 2 or 3 years ago? I swear you guys just had a big one. Maybe I'm wrong. What is this list? 1 second, guys. Un momento, guys. Un momento. Why? Sorry. 1 second, guys. Why is this doing this? Chicago averages 38 inches of snow a year. Detroit. Well, Detroit, I'm worried about ice. One second, guys. Yeah, I don't know. I'm looking at this. One second. You can't complain about snow in Chicago. You actually can't. You guys average 34 inches of snow a year. Here's 2022, 33, 2020, 48, 20 or 2021, 48, 2020, 34, 2019, 50, 2018, 36. You're all 2015, 50, 2014, 82. You are over the last decade, Chicago has been actually way above their average snowfall. You guys have like two not so great years, but if you were to put like average out the last 12 years, you guys have had crazy snowfall in Chicago. You all have such a short-term memory. I knew because I had this. I was talking to someone the other day about Chicago because someone had said doesn't get snow anymore, and I was like, really? Because I thought Chicago was one of those cities in the U.S. that's been crazy outperforming over this last decade, and it is. It's like one of the major cities that's well outperformed other cities. 2021 was the last massive snowstorm in New Jersey, not just in New Jersey, in the Mid-Atlantic. Correction, Nick. But I think that's going to be corrected over the next 2 weeks. A 3-year snow drought, guys, climate-wise, is nothing. It's absolutely nothing. That's a very short time period for our climate. So there's been areas that average 50 inches of snow a year that have gone on like 10-year droughts where they didn't see over 5. Like that's a significant snow drought. But like, yeah, the Mid-Atlantic's been in like a 3-year slump. Nothing crazy. Chicago's been in like a 2-year slump. It's insignificant. The Southeast did see a pretty big slump. Charlotte over the last 100 years averages over 6 inches of snow. Over the last 20, they've averaged like 2. So Charlotte, the southeastern areas have been in a little bit more of a major slump, but that's because, well, there's a lot of different reasons for that, but we could see that change as well. Obviously, we just saw record snowfall along the Gulf. So things adjust. Any snow for Wednesday, Thursday for central New Jersey? Yeah. These models, I know. Everyone's weather apps are saying you're going to get 2 inches of snow in New Jersey. Here is, I don't think, is our HRRR going to give us that look out there? I think we were going over that early. Here's our latest from the HRRR snowfall. Central New Jersey. 2 to 3 inches. I would hope for an inch of accumulation if I'm being honest, if I'm you guys. Thursday. Wednesday and Thursday. I think we're going to underperform, but I hope we overperform because that's where I live. But I think we're going to underperform. Please overperform. Please let me be wrong about this. I have to teach Pilates class at 7:30 a.m. Thursday, North New Jersey. Will it be canceled? We can kind of see, the one thing the HRRR is probably going to do is read when this precipitation is going to move incorrectly. Actually, I'd rather look at the Euro on that, honestly. So our timing for northern New Jersey for that significant snowfall and yes, to move in 6 a.m. Yeah, sketchy time. Sketchy time to be driving in northern New Jersey. 1 second. Here we go. Because the significant snow wants to move in at around 6 a.m. on the Euro. We could see a change, though. But yeah, I would be very weary of that. Or what's the term? Wary of that? School gets canceled for Northeastern PA on Thursday. Out of an abundance of caution, they may. Out of an abundance of caution, they may. You're not expected a huge snow total, but they may. With a little bit of ice on the back end of that, although it's supposed to pretty much all you're not supposed to get too much ice up in northeastern Jersey. It's possible for school cancellation up there. Come to Atlanta. I want to meet you in person. I hate Atlanta. Atlanta is not near any mountains, not near any beaches, never gets any snow, is one of the most humid, swampy places on planet Earth over the summer. and is so crowded and expensive. I hate Atlanta. I have family in Atlanta. I'm always like, nah, you visit me. Listen, just move to Charlotte. Charlotte is like the more modern, cheaper version of Atlanta. I actually have some friends who live in Atlanta too. He's a big Braves fan. HRRR putting nothing in Central Wisconsin Thursday. Well, really? Let's move this back out. Let's go here. Yeah, keep pushing everything to the north. Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, the HRRR does weird things. I'd probably buy the Euro on that one a little bit more. You're not supposed to get a ton though in Central Wisconsin on any model. But I think you will get some. I think the HRRR is tripping a little bit. Just for that, I'm going to unsubscribe you. Are you telling me you love Atlanta, Santiago? You telling me you love Atlanta? I like seasons. Atlanta has some seasons. It's not too bad. Atlanta doesn't really have a winter, but man, Atlanta's just summertime in Atlanta's tough. That is a tough place to live in summer. That's why they call it Hot Atlanta. Okay, Love, I appreciate it. Carlsonville, I appreciate you. Coin. Just please tell me no snow in Destin for February 20th. Because I moved my trip last month when they got snow. Wait. Oh my God, Pam. You should have gone. That would have been awesome. The odds are... Yeah. Listen, there's none in the outlook, Pam. You'd have to have some pretty bad luck. You'd have to have some really bad luck. Let me knock on some wood for you. There we go. From Nebraska to Florida. Wait. Yeah. I do not. That would blow my mind. I lived in Florida for 22 years. I'd rather live in Nebraska. I don't know. I liked living in Orlando, actually. Orlando was fun. I lived in there for a couple years when I was in college, too. Downtown Orlando is fun. How much snow is Upper Minnesota going to get? Well, if you want to look at our 10-day forecast here. All right, let's look at our... I'll just give you, what our latest Europeans thinking, okay? Here's our 5-day forecast from our Euro. Central to Upper Minnesota, 6 inches to 1.5 feet. Probably 6 inches to a foot is most likely. And this does include the Twin Cities. That's our Euro. That's our better snow model. Our GFS has a slightly different outlook, I believe. Not much. 6 inches to a foot. Actually pretty similar now. I forgot they started to agree. That actually is the 12Z, though. What's our 18Z do? Similar. Pulls off a little bit on the snow. Man, New Jersey looks so good in all these latest models, snow-wise. And all you Jersey people always complain how you never see snow. Hope you get it here. There was a stretch in the 2000s and the early 2010s where Atlanta was seeing some decent snow every year or two. I think it'll come back. Flagstaff, Arizona. I mean, let's just go to our precipitation outlook. 6 to 10 day, returning to average. Although I can tell you this right now, over the next week, you're probably below average. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at what's happening down there. Let's take a look. Let's stay on our 18Z Euro. Winter weather. Let's take a look down in Arizona. No snow in your forecast really over the next week, really. Maybe at the end of the week. Maybe actually pushing into next Tuesday, Wednesday. Let me see here real quick. Yeah, you can see right there, Wednesday. The Euro wants to give you a chance for snow into central to northern Arizona. We'll see about that. A little far out, but possible. Quantitative precipitation, though, for you guys down there. Dry. And then again, as we get into middle of next week, here's your chance to get either good. It's going to be rain or snow. It's going to be rain or snow. It's going to be snow in the higher elevations, potentially central AZ to the north. But that'll be rainfall for you guys if we do see that troughing happen. Look at this. Look at the south getting plastered with the foot of rain. This is going to be associated with severe weather as well. If we see that unfold as we move into the third week of February. What's up for Georgia next week? What is up for Georgia next week? I was talking to Matt about this. Dangerous severe weather look for Georgia next week. Now, luckily, this is 160 plus hours, but this would be a Tuesday evening issue. That, and then right behind it, severe weather, and then right behind it, severe weather, and then right behind it, severe weather, and then right behind it, severe weather. God, the Euro wants a 7-day span in Georgia to see 5 different severe weather outbreaks next week, beginning what looks like on Wednesday through the Wednesday after. Hopefully that does not shape up like that. It's far enough out to where there's plenty of time for changes, but that is what our Euro sees. Let's see what our GFS sees, because that'd be very interesting if it saw something similar. There's your Wednesday. This has it really on Tuesday. There's your Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Oh my gosh. Saturday, Sunday. Oh my gosh. The GFS sees the same thing. Sees like 5 severe weather situations in like a 7-day span in Georgia. Not just Georgia, but the Southeast. It would include portions of Alabama, Mississippi, and the Carolinas as well. Wow. Yeah, that looks like a pretty significant pattern there. This one, yeah, that's something we have to watch out for. I got to talk to Matt about that after I get off of here. Let me see here. What's it looking like in Philly? Courtney, it's looking like Philly is probably going to see a lot of snow in the next 10 days. Oh, my neck. I got to stretch. Zombie, I appreciate you. Yali. All right, let me do a little stretch, guys. Ow, holy crap, I can hear my whole body crack. Yeah, it does look a little scary. Is Virginia going to get a lot of snow? Central to northern Virginia is in a pretty good spot for these snowstorms. It is. Southern Virginia may end up being in the mixing ice sector next week. What are the chances that the snowstorm next Wednesday happens? What, this one? I mean, it's outside of forecasting range. It's going to be under 50%. I know, right? Headache in the neck. What's next? I know, Kevin. I know. Well, I've been working later. I got to go in the office 4 days a week now. Change of policy. So I haven't had time to go to the gym as much. And when I go to the gym, I do my stretches and everything. And so now my body's getting stiff. I'm in the office more, working myself to death. But it's okay. I'll be doing this full time soon enough, right, guys? And then I won't have to work 100 hours a week and skip the gym. Sorry if you already said it. Just hopping on. Any of those severe storm systems bringing snow to the Charlotte area? There is no snow in Charlotte's forecast Well, I don't want to say that. The Canadian sees snow in Charlotte's forecast next week. You know what I feel like I need? I feel like I need a drink. But that's like illegal on a Tuesday, isn't it? The Canadian does see snow in Charlotte's forecast next week. There are a few runs that make up the GFS and European ensemble that show snow in Charlotte. I'd give it less than a 10% chance of happening, but there's a signal there, so we're gonna watch it. It's not impossible. Possible school closures due to snow in Jersey. I don't think from these next two storms. Next week, oh yeah. If these models don't change, if these models continue to agree on that Monday to Wednesday snowstorm next week, I would expect a lot of school closures in the Mid-Atlantic, including New Jersey, PA, Southeastern PA. Thursday, I'd be shocked if school's closed on Thursday. Will the cold temperatures ever come south? Yeah, I mean, they are diving south, Celine. They'll dive south again before winter's over. We can take a look. We haven't taken a look at our updated Teleconnections this stream. You guys know I love me some Teleconnections. This tells the whole story right here. Let's do some climatological research here. Here is our latest. What? Okay. Here is our latest European Arctic oscillation. Very negative. It doesn't start to increase again. It significantly get up here until about the 17th, 18th time frame. The GFS doesn't agree on this, but you can see that it wants to dip again. This isn't really going super positive. So this is a lot of cold air availability here. Our NAO going north. This is going to pull us out of a wintry pattern as we get into the end of the third week of February, but I think that returns, and we can take a look at our GFS. We'll look at our weeklies. Our GFS ensemble Arctic oscillation. Okay, they're agreeing there. North Atlantic oscillation. Okay, so what's going to be our big target for snow? It's going to be this time frame right here, the 8th through the 16th. That's where we have our negative NAO and our negative AO. Our negative AO is a big polar jet split, slip, cold air. Our negative NAO. That's our AO. Our negative NAO, our negative North Atlantic oscillation, allows for the winter storm tracks out east. We can look into the Euro weeklies. And I told you this weeks ago, the Euro weeklies had the Arctic oscillation going like this. And I said, that's nonsense. It's going to fix itself. Here's it fixing itself. It's going to correct itself more. This is probably going to go negative again. Why? Because we've seen these type of patterns when our stratospheric polar jet splits or really, really stretches as far as it's supposed to. And I'd be shocked if we didn't see this go negative again. This would be March. First couple weeks of March. Let's look at that's the North Atlantic oscillation. Here's our NAO. They both want to trend south or negative again. So that's interesting. Here's our Western Pacific oscillation. This would be a signal again into March that our winter is going to be extended a little bit down here in the States. So what the heck? I don't even know what this is. I've never get me out of here. All right, there we go. Here's our CMC ensemble. This is keeping us much more negative for longer. Euro deterministic, GFS deterministic. All right. So it really does look like our time frame. You can see when we actually look at our kind of future radar and our European model here, this is showing another big kind of polar plunge here that's not being represented on our Teleconnections right here. If you were to look at our ensemble here, because this right here should mean that there's warm air moving back up into a big portion of the States around the 17th and the 18th. But if we look here around the 17th and the 18th, well, you kind of see it, and then you start to see this plunge again. So maybe it is accurate. Sorry, I'm kind of talking to myself. I'm talking myself through this, guys, because it's a lot of information. But like I said, I spoke to you. I mean, for people who are in my streams a lot, we were talking. I don't know what stream it was a couple days ago when this thing had it going super positive. It's correcting itself. You can tell when some of these models are just showing you absolute nonsense. How does March look for Ohio? Again, our Teleconnections want us to have a super heat up in March, and I think it's wrong. That's what they want it. That's what they want it in February. That's what they want it through February as well. And we said that was BS. Obviously, next week we're about to get 4 or 5 winter storms through the east, and a big push of cold air again through the Ohio Valley. Pretty far down south, except for your ridge over the southeast. So that was wrong as well. Polar vortexes. Someone said polar vortex is still set to split. You can look at our European here, northern hemisphere, stratosphere, 50 millibar height anomaly. Okay, here is our. Let's go into our 12Z Euro. There's our split, still being projected. And then we can go take a look at our GFS as well. And, ooh, look at that. 00Z's loading. There's your... Basically, that's a split. These are 2 vortices instead of 1. So that's our GFS showing it as well. I don't think we can see it on our Canadian. We can't see it on our Canadian. We can go into our ensemble. No, it has to be in our deterministic. But, yeah, they still show the split. And that's why, I'm not going to completely buy this teleconnection BS of our European weekly of this super positive AO. Not buying it. Not buying it. Because I ain't no dummy. Richard said, maybe the magnetic field, crazy weather, and catastrophic events worldwide. What catastrophic events are happening worldwide? The core, I have to look it up a little bit more, but the core of Earth is, well, we're expecting our magnetic field to flip because the core of the Earth is about to stop spinning. I don't know, like this year or next year. And then it's projected to start rotating in the opposite direction, messing with our magnetic field. But don't be alarmed. This happens like every 60 to 70 years. So don't be alarmed. It's actually much more normal than people think it is. There's a lot of fog here. Yeah, hopefully it's fog and not pollution. I remember when I lived in LA, I used to always be like, man, it's so foggy here every day. And one day someone said, that's not fog, that's smog. Georgia going to get any more snow? There's none in the forecast, so I'm not going to promise you it. But I do think there's a chance late in February, early into March, that we could see another big dive of cold air that wants to bring snow back down into there. There are a few runs of the Canadian, the Euro, and the GFS that put snow back down in the Georgia over the next 2 weeks, but they're far and few between. Is that how the saying goes? Few and far and few between? No, Pam, not the entire Earth. The Earth... If the Earth stopped spinning, we would all cease to exist. Let's put it that way. Oh my gosh. If the Earth stopped spinning, there'd be tsunamis everywhere. And there'd be just... The Coriolis effect would amplify, and we'd all be blown off the face of the Earth. No, the core of the Earth. What's going on, Kimber? Look, how often does Earth's core stop spinning? I don't know, guys. Look at that. I'm just a wealth of knowledge, apparently. No, I feel like this is something everyone knows. The Earth's core stops spinning. Well, where'd I go? Where am I, guys? Oh, my God. How often... There we go. Can you guys read this right here? The Earth's core stops spinning roughly every 70 years. That big lava ball. Why is this doing this? That big lava ball in the center of our planet. It's just a big ball of lava. It stops spinning. When it does, that can mess with our magnetic field. Yeah. Yeah, the Earth is round. Well, the Earth isn't flat or round. The Earth is a globe. Because remember, flat earthers do think the Earth is round, but like in a circular way. So yes, roughly every 70 years. So it slows down significantly and sometimes begins rotating in the opposite direction. So scientists believe this recent pause occurred in the 2000s, with the last turning point happening in the 1970s. So yeah, we're coming up on a potential rotation shift in our core. There's no proof that this causes any sort of catastrophic events around the Earth. Our magnetic field shifting like affects birds and stuff. I think birds are like, what's going on? I don't really know. I'm not a bird, as you can tell. But I don't think it's anything to be too concerned about. I'm sure the Mayans have a different opinion on that, but no one panic. Pam said, wait, so the Earth's going to stop rotating? Let's hope the Earth doesn't stop rotating. That's worst case scenario. That would be severe. The underperformance for I-95, is that going to be for the big snowstorm? Or, that's just for the Thursday storm, I think, the underperformance. Not the big one next week, no. No. No, Pam. I there wasn't 1 ounce of me thinking that was a dumb question. I just thought it was funny. But also a lot of people don't understand that the core of the Earth stops spinning sometimes and rotating the opposite direction. That's crazy when you think about it in itself. Like, why does it do that? Yeah. Is the nor'easter hype for next week real, and can it even happen? It's not really a nor'easter. It's just a big storm in the northeast. In the northeast. I'll explain the difference in a second. Do you think that huge tsunami will happen in San Andreas? I think there's going to be a major tsunami that hits the east coast of Florida, or east coast of the states right here, before any tsunami impacts southeastern California, because there's a big chunk of Africa that's about to float, that's about to fall into the ocean, and that's going to throw a tsunami over here. I don't know. I hope it doesn't happen in our lifetime. But where the fault line is, there are fault lines off the coast of the PNW, if I remember this correctly, that actually go off the coast that could put a big tsunami up into the northwest. But your fault lines down in Southern California are actually like inland. That would make it more difficult for a tsunami to be forced into Southern California than Northern California or the Northwest. But it's fair game out here. It's fair game out here for if that piece of Africa falls into the ocean. Another thing I don't think we have to worry about too much right now. GFS00Z, it's loading very slowly, yeah. We can take a look. I don't think we're going to have much of it right now. Not much. I always tell my parents to move to Texas because Florida will be underwater. Yeah, they've been saying Miami is going to be underwater for the last 80 years. And the ocean level in Miami and South Beach has risen by like 1 millimeter in the last 70 years. So someone needs to be fired. No, I mean, I would worry about, there are parts of Florida that are like sinking into the Everglades. That's actually more of a concern than the oceans rising around Miami. But it is a flat state. So yeah, a tsunami would just go across the entire state from the east to the west coast. Did you know that Hurricane Katrina, it actually went over my house down South Florida, but when Hurricane Katrina crossed over Florida, when it made landfall in Miami, actually Broward County, North Miami-Dade, South Broward County, it made landfall as a tropical storm, and it came off the western coast of Florida as a Category 1. It's one of the only hurricanes that has ever strengthened over land. It strengthened over land because the Everglades was so wet, and South Florida was so underwater that the hurricane was confused. The eye was like, no, I'm still over the ocean. It was just still pulling up massive amounts of water. So it just straight up went over Florida, didn't care that it was over land, and kept strengthening. Hurricanes are not supposed to do that. That's not supposed to happen. And then Wilma right after. Yep. We were down there providing aid during Katrina. Never seen anything like that. Yeah. Yeah. And then Katrina turned into a beast of a storm. But a lot of people don't know Katrina only made landfall in Louisiana as a category 3. But it was such a monstrously large hurricane that it just brought the ocean inland. That's what, obviously the levees weren't. Louisiana was given like $50 billion to build levees, and then they used none of it. Is Portland, Oregon going to get snow? Potentially over the next... There's some models that do put low elevation snow in the Portland, Oregon Wednesday and Thursday. I've been saying I want to see if it happens. I need someone to tell me because models still disagree on that low elevation snow Wednesday and Thursday in Portland. But it looks like it's going to happen. South Atlantic anomaly. Greases. What are we talking about? All different types of things. Africa's falling into the ocean. Not all of Africa, just a big chunk of land on the west coast of Africa. Sorry, guys. We really went off on a tangent here. We started talking about our core stopping spinning and rotating the other direction. The magnetic field. Pam said the Earth is going to stop rotating. We're talking about underwater volcanoes. Africa's falling into the ocean. Florida's going underwater. Mega earthquakes on the west coast. Sorry, let's get back to talking about snowfall totals. Oklahoma snow. Again, I'll show you guys our latest kind of what our European. This is the easiest way to show you kind of based on what's our latest projections from our European and what's our latest projection from our GFS. Here's where the Euro likes snowfall over the next 2 weeks. Take it with a grain of salt. You're not going to see snowfall in all these areas. This is where the signal for the snowfall is on the Euro over the next 2 weeks. Potential for Oklahoma on there. Here's the GFS. But a little bit of potential for snowfall through Oklahoma there as well. The GFS leaves a big hole of no snow in the middle here, though. Which will really, really piss off Pam. I'm telling you. And me. K. Marie. Zombie Yali. I appreciate you guys. All right. I feel like I've been really sitting down like here, chat. I'm probably way behind the chat on TikTok. Here I am. Where's our girl, Julie? I know. Hello, Julie. Did she go to Florida early? What's going on with her? Snow totals for Wisconsin snow on Saturday. Saturday's probably going to be your better snowfall. Our 00Z is loading in. Do we almost have Saturday on here? Oh, we're getting close to Saturday on our 00Z, the GFS. We can take a look at that in a second. I'll show you what our old models are seeing. Maybe 6 inches on the GFS with our last model. And the European 18Z, central to northern Wisconsin, it likes 6 inches to a foot, a ton. Shut up, Pam! I need a soundboard. I'm going to make a custom sound that says, Pam's in the chat. Thank you, Pam. Boston, yeah, I mean, every single model has Boston getting a ton of snow. Ton of snow over the next 2 weeks. I was showing the probability map earlier, and the European ensemble gives Boston, it's a small chance, but I can't believe it's even a chance, gives Boston a 10 to 20% chance of seeing 2 feet of snow in the next 2 weeks. 2 feet plus of snow. Only a 10 to 20% chance, but the fact that it's even entertaining, that is hilarious. No, keep chat. Let's mess him up. Snow in Charlotte, North Carolina in February. Yeah, Travis, there are some model runs that put snow back into Charlotte, especially the Canadian. Especially the Canadian ensemble panel runs, but I'd still only give it a 10, 5. We'll say a 5 to a 15% chance. How about we'll say that right in there? No, we'll give it a 10% chance. I'm literally the snow hole in the southern tier of New York. Oh, right there. Is that Binghamton? What's in there? Micah? I feel like that's Binghamton, New York. Snow accumulation for Michigan. I mean, look at your screen. Need I say more? Michigan's looking great. I think you're going to struggle a little bit. Southern Michigan, Detroit out west, but you may not. Yeah, like Detroit west over towards Kalamazoo. What's that road there? 94. What do you guys call that? Interstate 94? 94 north may see the heavier snowfall, but all of Michigan looks like it's going to see snow in the next 2 weeks. But yeah, I mean, central to northern Michigan is going to get buried. New York. Oh, okay. Yeah, don't worry about that little hole there. I mean, different models are going to show different things. Ice bad for Illinois. Not as bad as it looked before. We can take a look. Okay, wait. Let's look at our latest GFS just to see what it's doing up here, since we can see it better for Minnesota now. And Minnesota and let me see here. Wisconsin. Here we go. Okay, so let's compare this to our last run real quick. This would be, we'd have to look at about 96 hours. So there's that. It looks like it's bringing actually a tiny bit more snowfall up there. Tiny bit more up there into Minnesota and Wisconsin on this latest run. There we go. There's the 87. Pretty good snow. This latest GFS is bringing that Saturday snow a little bit farther south, I think, in Wisconsin as well. Appreciate it, Yali. Appreciate the follows and subs, guys. A cent each hour, yeah. I'll be rolling in the coins soon enough. Let's see here. Yeah, Pam, I feel like you were like in my first live ever. Or like one of my first ones ever. Because I haven't been doing it for forever. I mean, I haven't been doing it for a very long time. Let's see here. I was just starting out. Yeah, that's funny. The color pink on the map means how many inches. Well, it depends which color pink you're looking at. The super light pink is like 1.5 feet. This stuff, your hot pink is about 1 foot. And then your purple is about 9 inches. Dark blue is about 5. And then you go down all the way down to 1 once you get into the light grays. The whites are 2 feet plus. So right here, you're seeing like 2 feet into 1 foot, down into 9 inches into 5 inches. That's like that little corridor there. That's hard for you guys to see. It's pretty far out. I can maybe zoom in here. Oh, what? Nope. Apparently I can't. Come on, 00Z. Load for us. Let's see these new snow totals. Yeah, GFS is bringing that snow a little bit farther south. Look at big totals. Big totals. Big totals. Is that different than the 18Z? Actually, the 18Z did pretty good there as well. 18Z did pretty good there. There's the 18Z. It's actually pretty similar, but still bringing big snow through Minnesota and Wisconsin. Really liking the Twin Cities. Snow for Southwest Ohio on the 12th. GFS doesn't look good. On the 12th. So, yeah, misses it. But what does our European think? Because our European's going to be a better model. See, our Euro favors it through that region. Luckily, the better model likes snow in your region. So we have to. It's obviously out of forecasting range, so we need to wait a little bit longer. But your better snow model likes to snow in Southwest Ohio at that time frame. How much is big snow for the Twin Cities? Well, it's not big. I shouldn't say big snow because it's big snow because this year you've had no snow. Not no snow, but very little snow. It's looking like you could easily do 6 to 9 inches on the low end Saturday. So, you know, that's not huge snow for the Twin Cities, but like you've been in a snow drought. So that's a nice little snow to snap you out of it. High end you could receive, the Euro thinks you could receive over a foot of snow. Thank you for the follow, Thomas Phillips. It was 60 degrees here in VA today. I can't believe snow is coming. I know. It's coming. It's coming. Kyle, for what storm? Rhode Island snow the next 2 weeks. Most of these models think Rhode Island's going to get over a foot of snow over the next 2 weeks. GFS Canadian and Euro. You guys could underperform, but you're in a pretty good spot to see decent snow. Here's you can see what your Euro wants to do, or you can see what your GFS wants to do up there in Rhode Island, and then you can see your Euro here as well. Let's not go to the ensemble. Let's go to deterministic. Your Euro as well. Big. It's in one of those bullseye areas for snow. Rhode Island. Just wanted to thank you for all the live streams you do. Kevin, I appreciate that. Thank you. I appreciate that. I believe it or not, I'm not always in the mood to live stream, but I try to do it every single day. I would say most of the time I'm in the mood to live stream. I would say 90%, 85% of the time I'm excited to live stream. 15% of the time I do it because I feel like I just need to keep my word and go live every night if I can. And I want to grow the community and I want to grow my pages, so it's just work. You gotta do it. You gotta stay committed. New York City again. You guys are in the target for the next 2 weeks. When I say the target, right? Like if we zoom out here, and I keep using this word, NAO, Cleveland. Cleveland's going to be weird because your first 2 snowstorms want to go to the north of you and your second 2 want to go to the south of you. But they're all in a time frame where we could easily see those, a shift north or south of these systems. So here's what I'm talking about, guys. When I say you're in the target area, I want you to specifically watch what's going to happen out here. All right? As we move forward in time. This right here, and this is what's going to choke off that cold air from getting into the southeast. This type of pattern right here is what we call a negative NAO, meaning we're going to have ridging, which is this, these big these big red areas. This is ridging. Okay, this is troughing. Troughh. We're gonna have ridging that consistently wants to set up right off into our north and east over and over and over again. That allows cold air to sink, and then as these troughs sink, as these storm systems sink or move like this, zonally across the country, they're going to run into this boundary, and they're going to move up like this, up into the mid-Atlantic, up into the northeast. if we were in a positive NAO, you would see a lot of this troughing out here to the east. You would see a lot of this blue in this region, which we're not seeing. And what that allows is that allows our storms to move across the country, and we really get no negative tilt out of these systems. We have no energy being pulled into them, and they move off the coast. Your snow drops off the coast, and we're stuck in a dry period. The best example of that is what happened in December of this year. We actually had a pretty cold December through the east, and we actually had a lot of chances for snowstorms to dive down here and move up the coast and bring a lot of snow to the east in December this year. And we were in a positive NAO, meaning instead of having this ridging out here, off into the Atlantic and up towards Greenland and Iceland like this, we didn't. We had cold air sink in. We had cold air sink in, and we had storms just move off the coast. And we were left with nothing here. We were left with no precipitation. So a negative NAO is going to give you a setup like this. What causes a negative NAO is, if you want to get into technical terms, I've said it before, but the pressure gradient between your Icelandic low and your Azores high, your Azores islands are down here somewhere, it weakens. And when you have a weakening in your pressure, in your pressure gradient, you get a high pressure that sets up out here, and that allows for cold air to sink, cold air to stay, and then cold air to run into that boundary, and instead of moving off the coast and dumping all that precipitation into the ocean, it is forced up and dumps it into the states. So we like if we want a wintry pattern out here in the east, we want a high pressure to be built right out here off into our north and east, especially off into our north, which is what we have setting up here. It's like, hey, keep all that snow right in there. That's what we want. GFS 00Z is continuing to load. What's going on, Mezzo? What's going on, Mezzo Matt? Mezzo Matt has entered the chat. Bow, 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 bow. Oh, the 11th to 12th storm, Kyle. I mean, you know, listen, if you want a really realistic look, we're going to want to be like the 6th or 7th, so 2 to 3 days. 85 for yesterday's high here in Oklahoma. It was 39 today for a high. Yeah, that's crazy. Sorry, Mr. Connor. I feel like the next week storms will be occasional flooding in the south, potentially flash flooding. Yeah, potentially. Oh yeah, Matt. I'm doing good. I wanted to talk to you about something. Any chance for snow in Atlanta the rest of winter? There's a chance, yes. With this pattern, there's a chance. Let me just see what's our latest GFS doing here. Hold up. What's it doing with this second system? Yeah, look at that. Pushing the snow farther to the north, no surprise. Matthew, we need to talk. We need to talk, Matthew. Mezzo Matthew. Potential severe weather in the southeast here. Especially we're looking at Mississippi to Georgia. Okay, that's next Wednesday. Potential severe weather next Thursday, same area. Potential severe weather next Friday, same area. Potential severe weather next Saturday, same area. This would probably be not that bad. I was looking at that. Could we see a period of a week down here where we see 4 to 5 different severe weather setups? Your time. Matt, it is going to be your time to shine. Guys, if this setup holds, which it's pretty far out, so, you know, we'll see. But that is Matt. That is his wheelhouse. Severe weather, he'll be covering it live. Not going to get much sleep. Yeah. I mean, Matt, that would be like 4 events in 7 days. I mean, this is somewhat something. This is somewhat something. This is somewhat. I mean, just yeah. Look at that. Look at this. Look at this train of severe weather. Interesting. What about the Midwest? Like Missouri? Missouri's not a part of the Midwest. What? Does Missouri count as the Midwest? I've never counted Missouri as the Midwest. Thank you. My wife said no, it doesn't. Oh, someone said St. Louis is the gateway to the Midwest. Yes, it does. My wife from Minnesota yelled from the living room, "No, it doesn't." Guys, I hate to break it to you. I don't know one meteorologist who has ever, if you were to see my YouTube, it's just flooded with meteorologists who I subscribe to. I have never heard one meteorologist, and our job is to like understand regions. I've never, ever heard a meteorologist refer to Missouri as the Midwest. And I mean ever. Not even slip up. Do you know what we call the Midwest? I mean, you know what we call Missouri? What I call Missouri? Central Plains. This to me is the Central Plains, Northern Plains, Midwest, Ohio Valley, Tennessee Valley, Southeast, Mid-Atlantic, New England, South Central, Southwest. I don't know what I call this. Rocky Mountains. PNW, Northwest, and then California. I've never in my lifetime, heard any meteorologist call Missouri the Midwest. Take it back. You take it back now. So you're saying... One second, guys. This is going to bother me. One second, guys. Someone said Missouri is not the Central Plains. I mean, there's an area of elevation, but I would disagree. One second, guys. Hold up here, guys. This is really important. This is getting serious. One second. Yeah, it's disgusting that some of these... I mean, you have maps that include Kansas into the Midwest. Kansas and Nebraska. And that include North and South Dakota into the Midwest. So really quickly, guys. I'm trying to... Really quickly, guys. Hold up here. I need to show you this. Okay, in my opinion, this does a pretty good job. Except for we all know what the Great Lake region is. This does a pretty good job. Right here, I would say Midwest. This does a perfect job of the Midwest. I wouldn't say PA though. I would say this is the Midwest. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan. Can someone in the chat agree with me here? I'm getting back to snow in a second. Minnesota, Wisconsin, Indiana, Illinois, Ohio, and Michigan. Yeah, you can call it the Great Lakes, but is Minnesota the Great Lake region? No, but it's part of the Midwest. No? Okay, do you guys see this? The plains. Now, Missouri's weird because you have, southern Missouri that's a little more elevated than northern Missouri, but the majority of Missouri is in the plains. And you can take a look at, like, I'm shook at the way people look at this. We'll have this argument another day because I'm annoying people now. The Ozarks, yeah, maybe. Aren't the Ozarks farther down into Arkansas, though? This is the Ozarks, southern Missouri into Arkansas. But you're central to northern Missouri and into Kansas. These are plains. That's your central plains. I would include Nebraska into that. Your northern plains are North Dakota, South Dakota, into eastern Montana. I don't care what any of you say. Someone's saying Maryland's in the South. Yeah, we'll all just agree to disagree. Yes, the center of the country is geographically Kansas. Yes, Missouri, guys. Nebraska, Kansas, Missouri, and Iowa are geographically center. This is central. This is not whatever. Snow totals for south of Baltimore. For South Baltimore, I can't give you snow totals on that. You're asking for snow totals for an event that's not in forecasting range, but I can say that all of our models do put a signal on, big snow through the mid-Atlantic over the next 2 weeks. Specifically, as we move into early next week, there is 1 or 2 snowstorms that do look like that would want to drop anywhere from 6 inches to 1.5 feet through this region, mid-Atlantic, up the northeast coast. Exact snow totals are impossible at this time frame, but you're in a great spot for being in the line of some good snowstorms. I never realized how much, just as long as you don't call it the Gulf of America. Did Google Maps change it yet? They said they had to. Let's see. They probably haven't changed it yet. Any chance for snow in the Tennessee Valley next week? There's some models. There 20 to 30% chance, I'd say. That's kind of based on how many of our European ensemble model runs put snow in Tennessee Valley. K-Love and Anthony, I appreciate you guys. I live in Central Missouri. Can I say I'm in both the Midwest and the Central Plains? I promise you this. 90% of people who live in the actual Midwest, which is Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Michigan, 80 to 90% of them would not agree that Missouri's in the Midwest. So, no. I believe you paused it. What? Am I not here? Am I not live? They could be wrong. Listen, I've never heard one meteorologist in the history of my entire life call the Missouri Midwest. But I guess meteorologists don't know what they're talking about when they're talking about the United States regions. Oh, your iPhone froze. Any chance for snow in South Georgia again? Extremely, extremely unlikely. Not impossible with the pattern we have, though. Should Central PA be worried about power outages? Potentially with this ice, yes. Especially if you live in a home that is heated with fuel, I would have extra fuel. And some water, some extra water bottles, some extra food. You could be stuck inside for a little bit. We'll see. Central PA is a big question mark. I think parts of Central PA will overperform on ice totals, and life will be a little difficult for a few days getting around there and repairing that power. How much ice does northern Indiana get? The totals for northern Indiana have been steadily decreasing, which is good for you guys. Really quickly, 00ZGFS here. Look at that. Okay. Still a big snow. Move the snow farther to the south on the latest GFS. Kentucky. Coming right through you. There you go, Matt. Interesting. Let's see what our latest snow totals on the latest GFS are. Even though I'm just going to take the Euro. Look at that. Look how far south it wants this snow to get. The GFS has been leaving a big hole here the entire time, though. Look at this big. I just don't think there's going to be. I think there's going to be a little bit more action through this region here. I don't think we're just going to get a strip of snow that small with the amount of energy we have pushing down. But we'll see. I can hear my wife stomping around now. She's so pissed you guys think that the Missouri's in the Midwest. What's going on, Jen? Southwest PA, Morgan. Yeah, for ice. Again, all these models are going to get ice totals wrong. We can take a look at what our latest GFS thinks. You could see like actual Southwest PA not getting much. This first system, this is the area. We'll go up here in the Northeast. They're all pulling away from any sort of dangerous ice in northern Indiana. If we go up here into, let's see here, Northeast, obviously this area is worrisome. You can deal with 10th to 20th inch of ice. I would stay off the road still, but this stuff is power outages and all sorts of other issues. So this is what I'd be concerned about based on our latest GFS run. Although, again, our HRRR really doesn't show anything impressive here with ice, but our HRRR has been doing, bad with ice recently. Still does highlight this area, though. They all have this area specifically highlighted for ice. So I think we need to be cautious there. I think that has a little bit to do with the elevation change there between West Virginia and PA. Through that corridor. I'm right there where the line comes up from West Virginia on PA. Yeah. Yeah, so I would prepare as if there's going to be a lot of ice because you don't want to be caught, you know what they say, with your pants down. You got to be prepared for that. Yeah, ice predictions. For there to be ice, basically 2/3 of the air above you needs to be... Let me see if I can get this correct. This is basically how it goes. This is why this stuff's hard to predict. Here's your atmosphere. Okay? We're down here on the surface. Hanging out and chat. Here is your temperatures, okay? This is hot. This is hot air. This is cold air. The stuff that falls here, oh, well, duh, this is going to be rain. It's all above freezing. The stuff that falls here, well, duh, this is going to be snow. We're cold from the floor to the ceiling. Here's where the models have issues. Now, the stuff that falls here, you can argue, is probably going to be more like sleet. We'll call it sleet. But the stuff that falls here, your surface is going to have quick enough. Oh, it's right where we were. Your surface is going to have long enough to freeze. This is going to be rain. Then it starts to get, that water starts to get really cold, and then it hits a frozen surface. This is ice. This is ice. Okay? But then the stuff that falls here, once you get over this like 2/3 warm air and then 1/3 cold air, that's usually ice. 2/3 warm above, and then the bottom third is freezing, that's usually ice. Once you get here, a lot of times this has time to transition back into snow, but this is going to be low snow ratio snow. This is going to be your thick, wet snow and potential mixing. So this is what the freaking models are trying to do when they see ice. They're taking a big snapshot of our atmosphere and being like, you know, is it in here? And that's why all the models disagree, because some models think this is what the atmosphere is going to look like, and some think it's going to look like this. It's like, it's one of the hardest things to understand. and it's constantly changing with new data. But you know what's easy to understand? The snow and the rain. Cold from floor to ceiling, warm from floor to ceiling. That's easy. Mixing's pretty easy as well. Oh, you got a little pocket of warm air high up. Whatever. But ice and sleet stuff. I'm so... you're in Corpus Christi. I don't think... you just need to worry about warm air and rain right now. Could Central Alabama potentially see snow according to any models? Not right now. With this pattern that we have setting up for mid to late February into early March, there's the potential to see a late season southern snowstorm, but it's just not in the forecast right now. Bro's not even looking at TikTok chat. Gotcha ass. Confirmed. Minnesota. I looked at TikTok chat just because my spidey senses tingled when he said that. I said, "What?" Minnesota. Yeah, you guys, the Euro and the GFS love good snow through central to northern Minnesota. Really, the GFS and Euro like 6 inches to 1.5 feet through a lot of Minnesota over the next 2 weeks. Southern border with Iowa, Minnesota, we'll have to see. Some models keep that snow just to the north. Yeah, ice can stay away. Agreed. Connor, what are you doing? Connor, what are you doing? What do you think about? What do you think about snow in Dallas anytime soon? You could see your Euro wants to give you a chance, but that's way at the end of the model. So over the next, I would say less than a 10% chance. Over the next 2 weeks, we're going to have another big cold plunge, though, after we warm up a tiny bit in the third week of February. We're going to go back down, I think. So, let's see what our latest GFS is loading. What does our latest GFS think? Can we get snow that far south? Connor's been arrested for stealing my gold chains. What? Let me see here. Jen, I appreciate you. All right, here's our latest GFS. Okay, yep, we see that storm. Look at this. The GFS does put snow. Of course I said that, and the latest GFS puts snow right here. Not buying it yet though. It's far out on the GFS. So there's your chance at another southern snowstorm based on the latest GFS. For any of you who are wondering. Little sprinkle of snow down here. We'll see how that progresses. Let's see here. There we go. And there we go. Forecast for all of Missouri. Give me a second. What about the southwest snowstorm? The best snow chances you have are not in forecastable range. They're late into next week, but we're watching it. I do believe that we're going to have a troughing, good enough troughing to bring you snow late into next week, but still out of forecasting range. Luckily, as we get into the third, fourth week of February, this dry little thing that the Climate Prediction Center has had sitting over the southwest below average precipitation is going to lift, and you're going to start seeing average precipitation again, which is still not much because you're in a desert, but it'll be something. Thursday storm for the Philly area. I'd say if you get an inch, you got lucky. I hope we overperform. I live near Philly. I'd like some more snow, but I'm not too optimistic about that one. Saw your post. Snow in Omaha, Nebraska. The European likes good snow in Omaha, Nebraska. Your GFS does not. So you could see what happens on the GFS. European's your better snow model. But again, we need model consensus to say for sure, which we don't have quite yet. So, Nate, I appreciate you. That's what's going on with that. How much snow do you think southern Minnesota should get? It depends. If you're talking about like on the border, you guys might miss out a little bit. If you're talking about like, you know, Twin Cities, just to the south of the Twin Cities down here, you guys could get 6 inches to a foot over the next couple weeks. We can see on our ensembles. Here's our latest European ensemble here. This area is favored. That area is favored up there. Northern Plains over to the Midwest. Northern Midwest here. Favored for good snow, and so is this region. On both, that's our Euro ensemble, and this is our GFS ensemble. Sorry, let me get into... there you go. Both of them. I think Philly gets over 6 inches of snow next week. I think Philly could, on the high end, get over a foot of snow next week. Between Monday and Wednesday. Baltimore is going to be tight. Baltimore, I'd say the same thing for Baltimore, though. The problem is any shift north in these systems, you're going to end up in ice and mixing. You guys know how it is in the DMV. But right now, it's looking pretty promising. The latest GFS keeps that snow south in DC and Baltimore as well. Next week, early next week. Buffalo. Here's our GFS ensemble next couple weeks. Here's our Euro. New England, Mid-Atlantic, Northeast just looks good. Looks good for snow over the next couple weeks. Above average. Significant snowfall in a lot of these areas. Snowstorm in Seattle in the next 7 days. Here is the latest in the Pacific Northwest. You guys got a lot of troughing, another low pressure system moving in here. These models do think some of the snow is going to fall low elevation. These models do think Wednesday and Thursday you could get snow actually in Seattle. And this snow right here would be low elevation snow for like Boise, Idaho. Potential if we can get this snow line to shift a little bit farther to the north, you could get some low elevation snow into Portland as well. But you guys are staying below average for quite a while up here. Look at your temperatures up here in the Pacific Northwest. Cold, 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 cold. Very cold. So there's going to be plenty of opportunities for low elevation snow here over the next couple weeks in the Pacific Northwest. You're going to be below average, and you're going to see below average temperatures and above average precipitation. That is what is happening. All right, I need to go to bed. Back to the office. I got to wake up in 6 hours. Again. Work all day. And then get back on here so people can tell me that Missouri's in the Midwest. I appreciate you guys. Thank you to anyone who followed, subbed, gifted it. I will put more updates out tomorrow. Very exciting time for potential significant severe weather outbreaks down here. I know I said exciting. Exciting. Severe weather is exciting. It's dangerous, but it's also interesting. If it's going to happen, it's going to happen, and someone has to cover it. So, big potential. We'll see if we get any sort of record-breaking snows up here. Someone could see some sort of record-breaking snow up here in February. We'll see. I'm interested to see how this plays out. I know a lot of people are interested in Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, how far that snow goes, how far north that snow stays, or how far south it goes. And one thing I also want to see moving forward here is obviously the GFS and Euro completely disagree on what happens in the middle of the country. The Euro puts snow through this middle region, and the GFS completely leaves a hole there like this. We'll know soon over the next 24 to 48 hours. I think we'll start to see these models come together, and either this section is going to be filled or it's going to be vacated like you see here. And the latest GFS run that just came out does put a streak of snow down here. What does that mean? I don't know. I'm not paying too much attention to it yet. Just letting you know. Just the messenger. Everyone have a great night. I'll be back on here tomorrow. I'll be posting another video with all these updates tomorrow. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you guys. Everyone have a great night. Have a great night, Pam. Good night, Megan. And happy early hump day. Later.